budget LCS podcast where empty pockets have never held us back. It does take two to tango, keep it on.
This podcast is sponsored by tennis. Remember, we're not a real sport. We're tennis.
Welcome to the low budget LCS podcast where empty pockets have never held us back. It does take two to tango, keep it on.
This podcast is sponsored by tennis. Remember, we're not a real sport. We're tennis.
Welcome to the low budget LCS podcast where empty pockets have never held us back. It does take two to tango, keep it on.
This podcast is sponsored by tennis. Remember, we're not a real sport. We're tennis.
Welcome to the low budget LCS podcast where
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Low Budget LCS. I am Popova, and I'm joined today by a new addition to the broadcast, TripleNet. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Oh, you might get some double. Hang on. Sorry. What goes through my headphones goes through the stream, and I was listening to the stream, so you're going to get a little bit of a double. PC Cat Toes. Is there a PC Cat Toes?
I haven't heard of one.
We are going to get into draft here. This is Commercial Group C, a little bit more Commercial Group C action. On Thursday, we had Let 'em Cook versus Avalanche, which is an absolute banger. Here we've got Bingus Flingus versus PC Ronin. Now, PC Ronin, do you have a special new edition of the Panther Core logo there? It is animated, fun fact.
You only get animated logos like that when you have been an organization for a few times.
Actually, if people have animated logos, I can 100% use animated logos. If they're too distracting, I absolutely will not use them though. I know there was Anima Gaming had one because I was just looking through the channel, and it was like full rotating, like it was a news broadcast or something. That's too much. That's a little bit too much. But if it's little flaming cat eyes, we can do that. We can make that work. OBS is a kind and generous host.
The match that we're about to see, I doubt that even a very eclectic, attention-grabbing icon cannot pull your attention away from a match like today.
Yeah, so we do have some bans coming out here. Vayne going to be banned away. Malzahar going to be banned away. And then on the other side, looks like Maokai is going to be banned away, along with Annie and Caitlyn. So a little bit of prio on ADCs, supports, and some mid lane bans. Now, there was a lot of talk in the community channel about one Mr. Andy Gwen playing Yasuo.
I haven't checked out his solo queue, but I know that in his last series, he played Cassante and Gwen in their matches. So I'm wondering if we'll see those picks today. I know that Jarvan is also a contested pick, as both junglers have played Jarvan in their last series, and Jarvan's quite strong right now as well.
Yeah, well, we do have first pick Victor coming in from Bingus Flingus. PC Ronin going to have to decide what to do. In the chat, we've got Lil Robot Man saying LeChance licks toes. Yes, he absolutely does. LeChance licks toes. It seems like LeChance might lick cat toes. That remains to be seen. Jarvan is going to be the pick up here from PC Ronin.
Back to check too, and I believe that Victor might be a pick away from Panther Core. I'm trying to see if their mid played it. Yes. Blue Moon Jelly did play it previously.
Verja, I have the Panther Core logo, but I was told explicitly by the captain, one Mr. Slothman, to slot in the Campfire Cat. And he shouldn't have any problems reaching the 0-10 Yasuo power spike. Yikes. Ooh, Misfortune Jarvan. That is a good combination. Bullet time over Cataclysm is strong. Yes.
Previously, Slothman has played Leona in one of their previous series, so I'm wondering if Leona would be the pickup here. Synergizes really well with MF and Jarvan.
Yeah. Lots of CC to lay down on top of that. What's the Solar Flare? Is Leona ult?
Yep.
Yeah. Can be good to combo. Although I feel like sometimes teams, generally speaking, in low budget LCS, it is a pretty safe bet to bet on whoever has the better team fight. However, seeing Victor, knowing that Xayah Rakan can come out here, that is also quite powerful. If Jarvan jumps into Cataclysm and he's got friends with him, a Chaos Storm over the top, a Feather Storm over the top could be potentially quite problematic. And it does feel like sometimes you get too many big AoE ult kind of people on top there, and then, you don't have too much else left for laning or skirmishes.
I mean, I think for sure Xayah is a good pickup here. If I am the ADC playing something like Jinx or something shorter range like Kai'Sa or Lucian, is just so difficult into this kind of engage that Panther Core is starting to set up here.
Yep, it is going to be the Leona pick out last as we go into the second round of bans. I'm going to have to wait and see what gets locked in here. As Red Side is taking their time. Ooh, I can play some audio. How's this? Let me know if that's too loud. We're just gonna play a little bit of jazz. Actually, I think that might be too quiet even. Skarner is gonna be the ban away from PC Ronin.
Biggest Flingus right now, I am considering banning Orianna. Panther Core played Orianna previously. I think it fits perfectly into their kind of team comp wombo combo that they have going on here. Not a bad matchup into Victor as far as I know. And I think it allows them to have that good scaling into mid to late game too.
Yeah, Control Mage could be the answer here. Ornn is going to be the next ban away from Ronin, trying to set up perhaps Mr. Gwen for the Yasuo matchup. I mean, Jarvan does have a knockup. I'm just saying. It is possible. Wait, does... Oh, I see. Okay. I forgot. Never mind. It's fine. Don't worry about it. I said nothing.
Jungler, are you expecting to see from Bingus Flingus here? I know that previously they played Diana and Jarvan in their series, so Jarvan's already taken away. I'm not sure how Diana would go with this team comp. Seems like a lot of magic damage to me.
I mean, you have the Xayah, so you're not super worried about maybe picking too much magic damage. Aurelion Sol gonna be locked in for Panther Core Ronin. It's pretty strong. I mean, Diana would put you on the same like sort of style, because then you're kind of playing into, you want a team fight big, we want a team fight big, and then you're just running at each other. Gragas could be flexed mid or top, but they're not gonna see what Ronin pick for top lane, so likely I'm gonna say that is a top lane Gragas, and then we're gonna have a mid laner coming out here. Into Aurelion Sol, you want to see something either that also scales freely, something like a Kassadin or a Vladimir, just so you have that same late game power, or something that can exploit it, since the Aurelion Sol is extremely strong into the late game, like an assassin, like Talon or something. So they are going to pick Zac, and I think that is their way of saying that they're going to... Oh, what am I talking about? Victor's mid. Why was I talking about mid laner? Gragas top, Zac jungle. Mid lane. Yeah, now just the top laner. Last pick left for Mr. Gwen. And it is going to be one of the Wynn brothers, maybe. Or maybe we're just getting baited.
I do have to say I'm really liking this Gragas pickup. I think it allows them to really safely disrupt MF ulti without really having to try and get Rakan all the way to the backline or Zac slingshot. I think in the time that Rakan takes to get there, time Zac gets to MF, her ult's already most of the way done. So Gragas ulti is a good way to kind of disengage or knock her into the team if they're looking to play a little bit more aggressively with it too.
Okay. Beautiful. So we have our compositions. Sorry, I just had some DMs. My brain's going all over the place. In any case, we've got our compositions. Now, if you are betting your hard-earned schmeckles here, which team are you betting on?
No, I think when it comes down to it, I think that PC Ronin's draft is just a little bit easier to do. They have a little bit more engage, and I'm looking at Bingus Flingus, and I think they're a little bit more easily melted, a little squishier in this kind of team comp. Obviously, I'm a little biased because I'm a support main, so I'm looking at the Rakan versus Leona. But I do know Rakan is really strong right now. Xayah is really strong right now. Those are some really good meta picks as well.
Yeah. I think this is just going to be a wait and see. I do think if the game goes late, it does give the slight edge here to Ronin. But, you know, I could see it going either way. The Zac jungle especially, while Jarvan is extremely strong right now, Zac allows you some very unique gank angles and opportunities. So we could be seeing something a little spicy from this Zac. I know they like to slingshot themselves over chicken wall into the mid lane, so Aurelion Sol going to have to watch for that. Probably also going to have to watch out for Gragas roams. If Gragas can get the push on Yone, I'm not 100% sure how that lane in particular bears out. Now, bearing down on my most important question, what do you think Bingus Flingus means? What is a Bingus? And is Flingus a verb?
Bingus is actually a type of cat.
Well, hello there. We are joined by none other than a completely unbiased cast member, one PC Valentine.
I've never actually held a single bias in my entire life.
Never, ever.
As it would turn out. Never.
Now,
personally, I've never had a Bingus in my life.
Yeah,
So-
but like Bingus is like, have you ever seen those like memes of what are they called? Sphinx cats?
yeah.
Those are like internet has essentially turned those into Binguses.
I see. So Bingus is slang for a sphinx.
Basically.
This is lending some clarity to their team icon,
Yeah,
I would say.
that would explain their team icon.
Yes,
100%
absolutely.
correct.
Well, Flingus then might mean Sith Lord, if I'm reading their icon correctly.
Oh, that would be good.
I
Or
do
like
have to
Bingus
say,
Flingus is the name of the Sith Lord cat, essentially.
Yeah, if we want to go full, I'm completely out of touch and don't know what's going on. Bingus is a hairless Sphinx cat, originated in a video from which he is pet while staring at his owner. Attracting attention on Instagram in March of 2020, Bingus's popularity exploded in September after a viral Reddit post, and which later resulted in online users referring to all Sphinxes as Bingus.
Yeah, that checks out. That's at least what I know.
for the Flingus component, I do feel like some of these champs like Zac and Gragas do bring to mind the concept of Flingus.
That is, I agree with this wholeheartedly.
Flingus. Let's see if Flingus reveals anything. Flingus in Urban Dictionary means a combination of two living things that are opposites.
Like a Bingus and the Sith Lord, I see.
Yes. It is, well, so we do have cat v cat here. We got a Panther versus a Bingus.
Yeah.
Or a Campfire cat versus a Bingus. When you get the chance, Val, the new Panther Core logo is absolutely fire.
Oh no.
I got sent a special brand new logo by Shade. I mean,
no.
someone.
This can't. It's Shane. I'm sure Shane and Andy wouldn't send anything weird, guys.
No, definitely not. Definitely.
God,
definitely
I
not.
couldn't imagine that.
Mm-mm.
I do have to say, when you said an animated logo, I was picturing the one in the Panther Core server, not the one that we ended up with.
Yes, that logo does exist, and I will use it when a team gives me that logo for broadcast. However, today is not that day. Today is the day of Campfire Cat. So we are going to be getting into this game. I am going to make some bold predictions. I think Jarvan is going to level 2 gank bot lane. And I think Andy Gwen is going to solo die and get solo kills multiple times. I'm not sure where the balance is going to end up, but I think that that's going to happen.
I think happens level 1 with both of these teams.
I mean, I don't see either team really wanting to invade super. Well, I don't know. Slothman is kind of aggressive as a player, and Panther Core are no strangers to a 5-man early. Looking at the compositions again, I do think that you have to be careful here if you are PC Ronin, because your main source of AP damage is that Aurelion Soul in the mid lane. So if that gets behind, you are potentially gonna be in some trouble, because then the enemy team can just stack armor. There's so many great armor items. You know, Zanya's Hourglass is going to work fantastic for Victor, for Gragas. Zac even could probably build it, although, you know, he's got plenty of tank items to choose from. Frozen Heart would be a ton of value here with Yone, Jarvan, and Misfortune. So you really want to make sure that ASOL is nice and safe and scaling up in this game.
About these like team fighting drafts, I feel like there's so much pressure in trying to get everybody set up for big objective plays and looking for picks in side lanes before they happen. I think like if one of the teams has to walk into a warded area and they're arriving a little bit late to the play, it could really just serve as a death sentence for them. So I'm hoping to see a lot of cross map plays if they are a little bit late to their objective, or if somebody gets picked off. And really contesting vision around those timers.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. Early Drakes, I think, are going to be pretty highly contested. It'll be interesting to see who can, if anyone's going to make it down from top lane, or how the setup for the first couple of drakes are going to look, because you have the Jarvan being a little bit more early game, being more early game focused for sure on the side of the Panther core Ronin, but on the other hand, your A-Soul isn't going to want to move maybe as much as the Victor, although the Victor is still quite scaling. So that'll be interesting. I expect a lot of people to die around the first Drake. Or it'll just go gently. No, I expect death.
Teams get aced or bust.
Yeah, I want to see 5v5, first Drake, 5 minutes, everyone's level 4, level 5, no ults are available yet, just ram their heads into each other, trying to get this one going.
Yeah, and on the like mid lane point, like the mid lane roaming point, it's A-Soul. He's got like a whole ability that allows him to just zoom across the map. One of the coolest abilities in the game, hands down. I think that will definitely kind of. I would be really surprised if that didn't give A-Soul the edge, especially since she can also get those kind of scaling components by roaming. You know, you can get the extra Stardust from landing gear abilities or something along those lines. I'm not 110% on the details of A-Soul's kit. I just know you can get Stardust by dealing a lot of damage.
Yes, the way that Stardust acclamation works, and are we in game here at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Yep. I am synced up with ya.
Goodbye, my friend. Okay, that's the count. He helps us get in time, and if you don't know, Control-Shift-Z should... Hang on. Control-Shift-Z. There we go. We'll let you zoom out a little bit extra in the spectator client so we can have a nice big view of the action. Okay. Logos are good. Nothing's covering anything. Let's go. Schmeckelbet already went down, Zebra. It was maybe a little early. I don't know. Okay, here's my thing. Why doesn't Twitch let us put up the predictions for like a specific amount of time? It's like you can do it for 30 seconds, you can do it for a minute, you can do it for 5 minutes, or you can do it for 10 minutes. And 10 minutes is too long, but 5 minutes is sometimes too short. So what if I want to do like 7 minutes? I don't know. If someone knows how to do that, let me know.
Like 5 minutes is plenty of time. If you can't make a decision within that point,
I know,
be a little more decisive with your money.
That's fair. I know I like to watch LBLCS streams when I'm cooking, when I'm doing homework or chores or what have you. So, you know, sometimes you put it down and you come back and you don't realize the bet has come and gone, and then you've missed your opportunity to earn those beautiful, beautiful schmeckles.
You just bet all the money. You bet all the money you would have bet plus the extra money that you may have. You essentially bet for 2 games in 1 game. You bet an extra amount, right? Easiest way to make up for missing a game, personally.
So you're gonna bet all your schmeckles next time you bet, huh?
I wouldn't be opposed to it. That's the thing.
Nice to see both junglers starting bot side. I know that in this meta, there's been a lot of focus around bot ganks, especially early. Some junglers like Jarvan, they could still come bot early, but I think it's more likely that they'll just kind of head up to their top side, and maybe we'll see that fighting that we talked about in draft in the top lane rather than the bot lane early.
Yeah, I mean, Andy Gwen's certainly going for it. Has that lethal combo stacking up. Bingo might be in trouble here. Andy Gwen does ding too. The Q is going to miss, though, meaning he doesn't have a charge forward there. Okay, we're going to be safe for now. Andy Gwen not pulling any punches here in the early levels.
If Andy Gwen pulled punches, I don't think we'd know him as synonymously as we do.
He just goes in.
Yeah, he just goes, and I think that's like might be the best part about him. You know, like it's one of those things. It's like watching a game with like the Notorious Bud. For those of you who remember him, it's like you know something is going to happen around this player, and it's always top laners. But you know something's going to happen around this player. You just have to wait.
Yeah, we did see Jarvan go for a gank there. Not successful, was spotted out on the ward. Back to Aurelion Sol. Tomorrow morning I cut the count. No! I want to keep the count inside of me. I need him. Otherwise, how do I tell time? Only the count can read clocks. I can't read clocks. I'm physically incapable. But the count can read clocks. Anywho, Aurelion Sol gains stacks of Stardust. Whenever he fully completes a round of his little Stardust thing with his Q on a champion, I believe, or whenever something dies inside of his E. So, ooh, hang on, Bingo getting gone on Andy Gwen using that E quite effectively. Snapdap's going to do some damage, but not quite enough. But now Stilt is up here in the top lane, looking for a Bingo of their own. Meanwhile, Slothman has actually roamed up to mid lane to keep this Aesol nice and protected. Andy Gwen not going to be gone on there, though. But yeah. So the really common trade-up pattern that you see with Aesols is they put their E in the middle of the wave and then they Q it. Especially if it's in tower. And then you just gain Stardust. Andy Gwen going past Stilt onto the Gragas there is going to have to snap back.
You know, something I just saw that kind of surprised me is the decision to go after Shaka on Gragas over, like, Comet or, what's the other one? I wouldn't be surprised to see Dark Harvest here, but I guess he may go full tank, right, out the gate, which would make more sense. But if it ends up being Rod of Aegis into Seraph's Embrace or Archangel Staff, I don't remember which one. No, I remember.
Oh, Slothman going in is going to find the stun. Meanwhile, Billa coming in from behind has Flag and Drag available. But the Recon... Oh, hang on! Flash forward! Billa looking for it. Merlin guy forced to jump out of the way. Bringing out that Jarvan Flash. Very aggressive. Coming out the
Very aggressive. Yeah, that was a lot. I thought they were certainly... Maybe... It might have been miscommunication, but I can also see the idea. Because if you get that knock-up, I think Leona's Zenith Blade would have been back up from the beginning of the trade. And then maybe you can look for a re-dive on the whichever one is lower at that point.
Yeah. Lumajili is going to be out of mana here, so will be forced to take a reset. Yeah, I can absolutely see that working, and the play almost worked if you're not up against, like, someone as slippery as Zyra Rakan, where the Rakan could just hop 3,000 feet. I mean, I don't actually know how Rakan's dashes work that well. Triple, would you care to elaborate?
Pretty short dash, but I think it's super slippery, like you said, against somebody like Jarvan, where not only can you dash to allies, but you can also dash with your W if you haven't used it to engage. I also wanted to kind of mention that having the Zac come top lane was so important to try and help Bingo get the wave pushed in and be able to...
Andy Gwen going in. Fate Sealed is going to be utilized. Bingo taking a lot of damage, but does have that temporary stun up. Andy Gwen not quite able to do enough damage there.
You know, although I wasn't a massive fan, if he did not have Aftershock right there, he would have definitely died.
True.
Thinking the same thing.
Like, if Aftershock was not there, I think the two autos and the pullback is more than enough damage for Yone to get the kill. But this is a lane I've played a decent amount of times. That is just kind of for Gragas, especially just like farm what you can, do your best not to die, and you know.
Blooming Jelly flashing away is just going to be able to use that W to get out of there nice and clean. They're going to see this dragon, but it will just be taken away under their noses. First dragon, not a 5v5 all-out brawl, just going to go right over to Ronin.
Thing we're this far into the game, lots of early ganks, lots of plays made, but it's still 0-0 on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I mean, neither jungler has been rewarded for their pressure just yet. Laners have been keeping it pretty safe. There is a little bit of a gold lead for the side of Panther Core. They have about 300 gold in the form of farm leads. Most of that, I believe, is going to be coming from top lane. Obviously, that number is changing. Slothman looking to go on that blast cone. They might know it's warded, but Billa doesn't quite make it over, forced to use the Flag and Dragon. That's going to hurt. That cooldown will not be up for the next, 9 or 10 seconds. But that doesn't matter. Wildcard is going to be ignited. Knockup will be landed onto Billa, but Wildcard forced to flash away. Chanter looking to do the damage, but now here comes Zac. There's the Flag and Drag. It is back up just in time. Merlin guy forced to run into the turret as Stilt comes in to keep alive one of his Vistayan friends.
Hey, try again, right? You keep throwing people at the bot lane, you want to get Chanter ahead, you want to get Slothman unlocked, and I mean, there's no other way to do it, especially when you have Andy Gwyn kind of really making top lane his home. They don't need to play strong side on top, right? Yone is going to be able to not just win the 1v1, but to be able to threaten that 2v1, which is what I was thinking earlier when Zac didn't go for the gank. It's like, Gragas is so low, Zac might not have the damage yet. Well, now, whenever Yone, I think, can cash in this next back, it will be very problematic for Gragas, and it will probably be even better for the bot lane.
Ooh,
They'll get more
Tristan
attention.
TX forced to just flash away, trade it for the Yone R. You're going to take that if you're Mr. Gwen.
Yeah. Now, you get to see what Blue Moon Jelly can kind of do, sitting back. Mid laners essentially trading waves and just going about their day, despite gank attempts thrown at each one of them. Both of these mages kind of waiting for 20 plus minutes to really impact the game. So it's more eyes on the jungle, on the top, and on the bot.
Speaking of eyes on mid, though, we see 3 people from the side of Panther Core Ronin sort of congregating around there. They will slink away back into darkness. As nothing quite will happen there. But yeah.
It was such a good flash from Christensen. I mean, this player didn't have vision on Yone, and they flashed the ult super well, and I think that you can really see Panther Core trying to
Flag and drag, though, going to go down. Cataclysm with the Yone ult, and Christensen will die. That is going to be a kill for Zach. Andy Gwen not going to get knocked up there by Stilt. It's going to go back in a little bit. It's just going to be fine.
Yeah, Yone is that type of character. Insufferable to try and gank.
So much mobility. I mean, he can all-in you on, the far side of your turret, and then, he uses E at the start of that trade, so he snaps back to his turret. Woohoo! Especially if you, I know I see sometimes they're like, you get your chargers of Qs, then you Q, you flash, you ult, you're just light years in the dust.
Yeah. He's so fast.
He's going to use the E maybe a bit early, but still will miss the punch there. Villa now available. Andy Gwen going to buy time. Flag and drag not going to be used. Flag will go down now, and still will be forced to flash away.
Wow. That is just... Andy Gwen is... I don't know how to say it other than just kind of doing the top laner thing where you are playing on the edge, you're getting ganked, you're fighting all the time, you're kind of just doing what you want and getting away with it is the best part, and that's huge for Ronin because it means their bot lane's under a lot less pressure. Because the jungler's top all the time. Mid lane can kind of relax and focus on farming because the jungler's top and kind of play around things like that.
Well, not only that, he's up 30 CX, which is going to be a solid gold lead for 600. Meaning, he's got the crit cloak, he's got his leveled up boot so he can run, but hang on, Slapman now going to go. That's the ultimate they're looking for, but Wildcard able to use that Zai ultimate. Despite that, still taking quite a bit of damage. Merlin guy running around, but now Merlin guy is going to be stunned up. Flash forward, can Chantry find the damage? Merlin guy going to be forced to flash away. It's going to be null for null. Flashes used all around.
Marvin's on that bot side looking.
Oh, Bingus. Cataclysm going to be dodged just barely by Merlin guy, but Wildcard will be caught out. They're looking to do damage. Feather Pull and heal will keep it. Oh no, flash forward, and the Q will mean that Billa gets to pick up that kill.
Yeah, I mean, Rakan escaped, but at what cost?
As we see some noodle fighting up here in the top lane. I do think the Aftershock is very useful here for Bingo. As he's making full use of the Gragas passive as well, but it's not quite going to be a... Ooh.
That hit. I think we all knew Andy Gwen was ready to press R.
Whew. Yeah. Now, Panther Core are now on 2 Drakes. They have managed to find themselves, even with just 3 kills, about a 2,500 gold lead here. So... What are we thinking for the side of Bingus Flingus? How are these Sphinx cats going to get back into this one?
Thinking is that there's been a big number disparity a lot of the time. So we saw when Stilt was all-inning Andy top side. He was just by himself. Gragas was on the way, but not quite there yet. So I'm thinking if they can find a numbers advantage, even if it means not catching a side wave or, ganking a side laner when the rest of the team is at an objective. I think these types of situations are good ways to get shutdowns and try and find that way back into the game.
Yeah, especially when you have Gragas with flash up, you have Zac with ult, you have obviously Rakan doesn't have flash or ult, but ult will seem to be up soon. If you have a lot of these playmakers, I'd say maybe as soon as you can, get that opportunity to rotate towards a Rift Herald, look for that type of 3v3.
Ooh, hang on, still going to go in. That's going to be an absolutely massive knockoff under Chanter and Slothman. They are going to use the ultimates, but it likely will not be enough to find a return kill. Slothman is going to be left alone, trying to use the sword of the Solari to take out the Merlin guy, but Merlin guy just going to be able to run away, and now a bunch of bonking, but Slothman is able to flash off the wall, so it just ends up being the death of Chanter.
There it is. Rakan and Zach working well together and kind of being able to CC down. MF ult was uninterrupted. Waited until after all the CC was done. Didn't let it off and couldn't quite get the kill on Xayah. But Xayah got that kill. I believe it was a shutdown. Maybe not. I don't remember. It would have been a farm shutdown if anything. But I think that is going to be a push in the right direction.
Yeah, now they're also taking this turret here.
Yeah,
they're
they
going
get
to try and stop him, but he's going to use the ultimate, goes in, gets the charm up, but just goes right back out.
Unfortunately, you don't have Rakan ult, but you get to walk out for free. I think Xayah will have an item on back, which will be big, big, big.
Yeah, 1400 in the pocket. I think that is close to enough to finish. What is it going to be, do you think?
Kraken?
Uh-oh. We have a hunk alert from Mr. PC Jackie Boy. Meanwhile, Rift Herald's going to be dropped top. Will we see that? Bingo. The hunk is whatever piece of silverware someone just dropped. I'll have you know, that was my reusable metal straw. Okay?
That is the kind of silverware, right?
I mean, is it? I think it's stainless steel.
Oh, I guess that would count at that point. I'm also surprised. Well, I was worried for Gragas there, right? Because that's a scary dive situation. But then I realized you are a Gragas with Flash, with Aftershock, with ult. It would be and basically full HP. It would be very hard to justify trying to dive him. You're almost always going to give up a 1-for-1, maybe a 2-for-2, a 2-for-1.
I should put this straw down. What? Hey, what's not sexy? What's not hunky about wanting to save the planet by not using plastic straws, huh? Ruffian has given us a subscription. Ruffian, you know who you are. You know what to do. But in case you don't, here's what you're going to do. There are 2 Denny's in Vermont. You're going to go to one to the south. You're going to go around back. And you're going to knock on the door 3 times. You're going to talk to our buddy Todd. He'll let you in. The pancakes, those are on us. Okay, going in with the ultimate. Bingo might be in trouble. Does use the counter ultimate to get out. Just flash a little happy beat emote. Oh, but flash forward with the second Q. Andy Gwen wants blood. But Bingo is just going to be safe.
That's no flash. If I'm Victor, I'm genuinely looking top. Victor, Zach could look top because Andy's going to push his lead, most likely. Or not. He's going back. He's gonna.
Ooh, still is going to go in here. Oh, knocks up Blue Moon Jelly in the middle of the W. That could be problematic, but now Billa is here to use the Cataclysm, and the Sky's Descent is absolutely massive. Slothman going inside, and now Christensen TX finds themselves completely alone. Solar Flare going to be used, force Christensen to flash one way, still trying to get out with the jump of Rooney. Not quite going to do it. Slingshot will go down. Christensen TX will be the lone survivor of that play.
You know, when this Ace-Hole rework came out, I never thought about Cataclysm plus Ace-Hole ult, but clearly Ronin have, because, oh man, that seems infuriating to play against.
Just imagine there's an MF ult and a Yone ult on top of it as well.
Exactly. That is an excellently drafted comp. No bias at all, of course.
Yeah, absolutely none. And yeah, what does the PC in your name stand for again?
It actually stands for proudly, and then it's C short, so it's just proudly short, but instead of being spelled normally, it's just
like CHORT, like short, but it's pronounced short. Yeah.
Exactly.
I got you. I did want to say what Ruffian said with their subscription. Andy Gwen is an Orn one trick. Andy Gwen.
This is the best Orn one trick I've ever seen at the game.
Yeah, Slothman might be in a little bit of trouble. Helps Chanter stay alive there. Andy Gwen on the flank. This is where they could collapse on him.
Oh, they're not.
But he's going to go over the wall with Fake Seal. Call an ambulance, but not for me. They're going to use the MF Ultimate. It's going to go over the top. Wildcard will be able to stay alive. A ton of feathers are going to come through. Slothman now might be in trouble. Is going to go down, and Andy Gwen snaps back, and now Chanter is left alone. 80 carries being left alone again. Oh, yep. Cataclysm is just going to take out Wildcard. Oh. And now Billa finds themselves in the middle of the enemy team. There's quite a bit of damage. Flag and drag over the top means that now Chanter is kind of able to come back. Billa forced to flash over the wall there. And they're pretty tanky here. Oh, Andy Gwen.
Andy Gwen.
That ult by Bingo was so close to hitting. It would have really changed a lot if it was able to land.
I know it's just a strong engage from Bingo to begin with. It was a really, really good flash E. It was a really good flash E to kind of come in, get good CC off. Another thing that I noticed is that the MF ult didn't really get to hit Wildcard, and then he got charmed and made it really hard for Misfortune to kind of do anything, especially in the early with the bullet time. So then you have Misfortune kind of getting zoned out by Rakan and by Zac, and then Gragas flash E on and kind of got to push them all back. So while Ronin won the bulk of it, it's not all doom and gloom for Bingus Flingus. They have some avenues, they have certain, I think they're certain more kind of wild ways to engage. You've got Rakan, you've got Gragas, you've got...
Yeah, Billy going deep in the skies will descend. One stun up, the two stuns up onto Christensen, and Cataclysm will make three. Now still trying to get in, and Flag and Drag will find the knock-up, and the Dragon's Breath over the top is an absolutely deadly combination as the skies have indeed descended, and Blue Moon Jelly is picking up some kills.
Gardens. Criminal. Highly illegal challenge. Something about just kind of this character that has extremely efficient disengage, extremely good engage, sets up for teammates so well, is so good in the early game, but will always have use come the late game.
Ooh, Yoni ultimating you, but will not find Zac there. But they're just going to turn on to Baron. And Bingus Flingus have no idea.
Oh, Andy.
Andy Gwen in the middle of a 1 versus 3, looking to get that Q2. Going to be forced to snap back here. Now going to be charmed up by the Rakan ultimate. Still has to be careful, but might still have the Zac passive. Andy Gwen going to take so much damage. Doesn't quite get Zac down. Doesn't quite get Merlin down.
He almost gets 2 in 1v4.
Yeah, that was something. It's just maybe if there's like even 10% less CC on top of him there, maybe it's more playable, but it was just not possible. Every 2 seconds he was getting knocked up or stunned or airborne. It was probably frustrating.
Fun fact, they are nerfing Bloodthirster next patch. So
and there are 2 built, and I'd imagine we'll see one for Xayah sooner rather than later. Although I think the next item being built for Xayah is Novori.
Possibly. I am not super familiar with crit build trees.
I am. Did you know that they took the attack speed out of Mortal Reminder?
I did not. Oh, maybe I did. Yeah, I think I did.
You know, I actually found out a few days ago that not everybody knows that Headset Alternator is a part of Morello's now.
I just learned that the other day. Oh, Andy Gwen gonna E forward just to dodge the Zac bounce. Now gonna use that ultimate to group a couple of them up, but won't do too much else as they are, I think, a little bit too close to tower range there. Yeah, I didn't realize Alternator was part of the new Morellos either, mostly because I just haven't been building Morellos. Ooh, okay, Billa is gonna go in. Just going to be alone in 4, but is quite a tanky individual. Chaos Storm will be dropped. Not going to be able to do too much here. Yeah, they're still looking. Flash forward, Andy Gwen looking to do the damage. There goes the MF ultimate, still not going to find the knockup, but the Gragas will. That's the barrel going up top that we see. Now we see Bill on the backline, ulting Skies, descend, absolutely delete Xayah. Zac passive finally drops as Bingo runs for the lives. The bag is going to, is going to pick it up. Ooh. And then, yeah.
Yeah, that is extremely tough. I think Bingo is like right there on the cusp, but you don't have the vision. I think they just were lacking the vision to know where's MF, where can I E forward into? Who's in this bush? Jarvan's there. Do you know that? I think it was Leona was right next to Jarvan. And they're looking to end here, which I think they'll be.
Yeah, I think they might. I do believe I had an invite sitting, although, spoilers. Yeah, this turret will fall, and Chanter really wants this game to end. Ooh, Rakan will find multiple, but Andy Gwen is there in the back line. Chanter looking to do damage, auto-stepping. No, the flash belly slam is going to find it, but now Bella Blue Moon Jelly here. If the Nexus is so low, is going to go back in, and that will be game 1 for Panther Core Ronin.
Good decisiveness there at the end to recognize that they could finish it off there, even though it was kind of close.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we are going to get into game 2. Woo! Triple, if you want to stay, happy to have you. If you want to leave, also.
Yep, I was just
fine.
filling in as an in-between. Thanks for having me. Good luck
Yeah.
with the rest of the cast, you guys.
Thank you for coming on. Alrighty.
All right. It's time to get up to regular shenanigans.
That was good. Now, it does look like Bingus Flingus have selected the red side. Sorry. In case you don't know, the way the little bunch of LCS works is the loser of the first match gets to select side selection for the second match. So it seems like Bingus Flingus have selected that, as we are going to get into draft here in a second. All right, so talk to me, Val. What are we doing going into game 2 here if you are on the side of Bingus Flingus that, in draft adaptation might help them out?
Probably ban Jarvan or take the Gragas into the jungle to play against it. I am a huge fan of counterpicking Jarvan with Gragas. You can match the early ganks. Your E has similar potential to EQ as an engage and kind of a pseudo disengage because it can be blocked, right? You have the same level of disruption with your own ult. And you can also just kind of go for a nuclear build and just bomb people with EQW, R, and just try to do your best. If you're not gonna devise a counter pick, you should probably just ban it unless you think they won't prioritize it. That's kind of the tricky thing with being on red side and your opponent having a pick that kind of dominates. If you either have to take the gamble with, well, we won it too, but we're not first pick anymore, so we either need to ban it, pray. I'm a big fan. If you don't have a counter pick to it, probably just ban it. You don't want to run the risk of your opponent first picking it and kind of running over you with it for a second time.
Yeah.
That being said,
we are going to get the draft going here. Oh, I need to release Schmeckles. This is good. This is going fast, though, because I do need to pick up someone from the airport after this series, and I would rather not be late.
Yeah, that's fair.
Game 1 went to PC Ronin, right?
Yep.
Okay. we don't want a Schmecklegate on our hands. I don't want to be the next Mighty Fool,
Yeah, you hang out with that guy a lot. I'd be scared if his mannerisms were rubbing off on you.
Well, I think they're rubbing off on the count, which then get internalized by me.
Okay. A little odd, but a little concerning even, but not bad. Inherently.
Yeah. No, it's just... Yes, we are on the draft. Do not worry, Mr. Slothman. It looks like Bingus Flingus not too concerned so far. Draft going to be largely the same. Ronin with the same bans as last time as well, I believe. Points. That was a decent chunk of channel points.
Yeah.
It's like 30k, 40k?
Change.
36k. Oh, yes.
Let's see. I'm interested what the last ban here is from Bingus Flingus. I missed the draft.
It was the same. These are the same bands. So Bingus Flingus are just saying salty run back, better execution, maybe, Or maybe they have, so you don't always need to use the bans offensively. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's as much about what you pick. Maybe they have something in mind.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Oh, this
Oh
is an
my!
interesting pick because this can go a
I
number of places.
I love Cho'Gath. I've been playing so much Cho'Gath recently. He's an ADC. He's technically playable support. He's a top laner. I think if you have played it before, Cho Jungle is incredibly easy. It's like Nunu, but less ganks, more security in the more ganks. But you, on personal opinion, you've got a better tank, and you have the same amount of objective secure, but immediate or counter pick.
Yeah, so this was banned second rotation by Ronin last time. Now is going to be the first pick here from the side of Bingus Flingus, so will be high priority. Now, do you expect this Cho'Gath to be top, or do you expect it to be ADC?
We will learn very soon because, I mean, I think if we see a Senna, we know what's going to happen. That being said, Andy Gwynn is a well-known Cho'Gath player. He plays a lot of interesting things. I think the Cho'Gath feels like the one that sticks out like a sore thumb. But really what's more important to me from Ronin is that they could just hold it. I think maybe if you pick a jungler here and then you pick something that can maybe be flexed between mid and support, it would be huge.
Yeah. It is nice to have those tools in draft. That's why I was a little surprised. Oh, Senna. Okay.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
All right. I see you.
We figured it out, guys. I think we figured it out.
Yeah, they want to get... Now, it's nice to have the Senna because you don't risk it getting banned second rotation or taken away, potentially. But obviously, it does give the enemy team a little bit more idea as to where that Cho'Gath is quite possibly heading.
And a Sejuani god. Oh! All right. I love Karthus. I'm interested in what Bingus Flingus is going to counter with because this could be mid or jungle. It's probably going to be jungle, but I don't know exactly what Blue Moon Jelly's pool is, so it could be either of those two things.
Yeah, I've also... I do know of some people who are what we like to call lawnmower Karthus top enjoyers. Bingus Flingus is also going to take away the Cataclysm.
Yeah, huge. So I'm really interested in what Bingus Flingus ban and what their plan for bot lane is. Because in my personal opinion, the best way to beat Cho Senna is to not play a traditional bot lane. I think it kind of just puts most traditional bot lanes under the ground. It's tanky, it's extremely annoying. The CC's on point. Not a lot of ADCs can deal with Everfrost plus Q plus getting silenced and getting executed, right? Or technically it's a finisher, not an execute. That's not the point. The point is that it's extremely infuriating, which is why I actually really like Tristana, because you can get Tristana out of the bot lane. Does not have to be something that's picked there, and I think that would be that could be very telling as to how they're going to answer this Cho'Gath Senna.
Interesting, yeah. Certainly will be curious to see, because this could also just be Tristana mid. We could just not see the bot lane of Bingus Flingus at all yet. And in that case, you would want some AP there, because your top side is... I mean, Ornn will do magic damage, but,
I would love to see something... I really like Swain in this bot lane. Difficult to get into that low HP threshold, and when he's low, he's always healing. You go for something like a kill lane. I think a Pantheon Talia would be hilarious to see. I don't know if it'd be the most efficient, but I'd love to see it. But double mage bot lane. Instead, they're gonna say pedal to the metal.
Yeah, it looks like they're going hard on the engage. Maybe trying to duplicate a little bit of the composition of PC Ronin from last game, but with their own pick. So getting the Jarvan, and instead of having Leona, having the Rel for the engage. Yeah. Hey, by the way, I see you in chat, Mr. Jackie Boy. What do you think about your new logo? I personally think you should change the Panther Core server to have this logo. That's my 2 cents. Oh, Lord, they let Andy Gwen cook. Oh, boy.
Why does something tell me that is not Yasuo mid?
Okay, here's my read here. I think this is Malphite jungle. I think this is Malphite jungle
Oh,
with Yasuo top, Karthus mid, and Senecho bot.
love not Viego, Vex pick. Although I am kind of it works synergy rise, right? You've got all this AoE damage, but to me, something is off about the Bingus Flingus comp that I can't stick my finger on. Maybe it's just not as wacky kooky as the PC Ronin comp, and that's why my brain isn't acknowledging it. But I do think they've got an extremely solid comp here. You've got Orange, you scale well with Orange Tristana, which is important. It's very important that you scale well, because you're playing into Cho'Gath and a Karthus and Malphite.
Hang on, I have
Yasuo.
hot off the presses a DM from the captain of Panther Corps Ronin himself, Mr. One Slothman. We cooked. The kitchen is burning down. Help.
Yeah, it's that bad, I think. It's not bad. I think this is a comp that this is one of the tried and true things, especially when you draft wacky comps, is that can you survive the laning phase? Because a lot of these wacky comps can team fight. I think there's never been like a ridiculous comp that's been drafted that couldn't at least team fight. So the important thing is, can they lane on these champions? Can they get through lane? And it is Yasuo top, Andy Gwynn. We've let him cook, even though I think there were two perfectly fine Ornn matchups. We've gone with maybe the most difficult one in Yasuo.
Yep. There are. So
Karthus,
if you are a Schmeckle enjoyer, there are currently 43,000 Schmeckles on PC Ronin and 480 on Bingus Flingus. Just saying. That's a good return.
That's a great return. Make an excellent point, Pepoba.
But yes. Okay, so it is Malphite mid, Karthus jungle.
Yeah.
What you're saying. Yeah. I'm very interested to see how this top lane matchup goes. For Little who asked, Panther Corps Ronin won game 1.
My only worry here is that Jarvan and so I think any jungler, anyone who's ever seen junglers knows that Jarvan's going to trump Karthus in terms of pressure. From 1 to 6, from 1 to 5, and probably from 6 and on, just in how often he's going to gank and how effective the ganks are. So for me, it's going to be how tight is this Ronin laning? Are we going to see a lot less mistakes, a lot less getting caught out? Are we going to see the Jarvan play to the same efficiency, have the same kind of success? Maybe it's different, maybe it's difficult early, but as you know, as the mid game comes in, as the lanes start to kind of crumble and people start to move around, Jarvan's getting more and more done. Is it going to be the same for this Jarvan? Right? Because you're not really going to be worrying about a counter gank from Karthus. He's going to be power farming his way to the moon. So I'm interested in how effective this Jarvan's going to be. It's very important because if you can put this Yasuo down and you can make sure Cho'Gath doesn't get to lane for free, then that changes a lot.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. I do think that it is nice, the jungle changes that we had in 13.5, Karthus now being a lot more viable in that power clearing your jungle is absolutely a viable strategy today. I know I got a little bit clapped by a Hecarim player who I met in ranked today, who just sort of casually came out the jungle 2 levels up because I was playing, the early game ganker in the Jarvan. I was playing Vi, but, very similar play styles. And I did a 3 camp, and then I ganked, and then I was a little bit delayed on my second camps, and yada, yada, yada. And then the Hecarim just kind of came out and was 2 levels up on me and kind of destroyed me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so,
and that's Hecarim things. I think it's unfair for Hecarim to be an insane farmer alongside having very good ganks and all this carry potential. Karthus, however, it's a little different because Karthus has Wall of Pain.
True. However,
and that's it. Really.
Karthus damage is so high, though. Like, if Karthus gets the angle on you.
Mm-hmm. But I think that's going to be, once again, another question is, how good is the Villa Karthus? Is it something that we're going to be talking about weeks and weeks later, and we're going to have to be recognizing when they do pick it? Or is it going to be something we're like, it's a good idea, and I think this is a good idea. Like the Karthus here kind of matches the scaling of the Ornn or the Tristana, but it will lack that early pressure.
Yeah.
But if the Karthus can't kind of get off of its feet, I like to think that the first couple of Karthus ults, it's kind of the same as the Shin philosophy, where it's like after the first few Shin ults, you'll know how the Shin is doing. I think if it's just when the Karthus ult is being pressed, is he picking up kills? How much gold is he getting from first strike? Or how many stacks is he getting from Dark Harvest, depending on what they go. So I'm very interested in how that goes.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm interested to know, because there's a number of different things you can go on Karthus here, summoner-wise and keystone-wise. So that certainly is going to be something interesting to watch in the next 57 seconds when we do get into this game. Now, when you're playing Cho'Gath, are you playing that top, support, mid?
I'm playing it top. I'm playing it top a lot.
Okay. Can you, because I'm still not super familiar with the Cho'Gath sort of ADC meta. I know it pairs well with Senna because there's a lot of, you get ruptured and then you get rooted and then Senna sort of queues over you. But is that most of what makes it so good, or is there some other special sauce?
I mean, to me, what makes it work, obviously, it's Senna, who is the patron saint of having ADCs or supports who are very, very odd. But also, Cho'Gath in the bot lane getting fed kind of gold and being able to impact the map a lot earlier, I think is also a huge point. If you have a Cho'Gath in the top lane, he's kind of isolated, use TP or sack waves by roaming to kind of use his ult to secure those streaks. For Cho'Gath bot, he's already there, right? He can use the ult, so you've got more objective control on your bot side, and you can kind of threaten objectives like that, obviously with Senna, but I know, what team was it? I think it was Dirty Rats at Xfinity that played Cho'Gath Leona, which is the same idea, right? But you can kind of do this really interesting thing with Cho'Gath where you kind of play it like a poke lane and you focus on using your Q and your silence and then kind of using your ult as the threat tool is don't get poked too much or else. Or you can play with an engaged support like Leona where you say you get hit by the engaged support CC, I get the knock up, I get the silence, and then I can threaten you by just chunking your HP bar, making you get really low and looking for the kill that way.
My friend, are you at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 27, 28, 29, 30. Yeah. Okay, goodbye. I don't think the count is getting brunch with Mighty tomorrow. I think it's been canceled.
Oh, he's on. God, Andy Gwen. Safe.
Andy Gwen will spot out this invade, but that's not going to stop them from going for it. They're going to look to get that early vision down. I was just saying this the other day. I really like that they added Ping the Ward to get 5 gold. Because it is a little mini game that incentivizes you to have really good map awareness. It's best map awareness wins 5 gold. Something YouTube challenge something.
They should make it 15. Personal opinion.
Actually, they should just make it 100 gold when you ping a ward.
Oh my God.
Make the whole game just about warding in front of someone gives them a shit ton of money. That way, if I'm sitting...
so much smarter about your fucking wards.
That way, if I'm sitting in a bush and someone places out a ward on top of me, I at least get some money for my gank not being able to work, That's the league I want to see.
That's the worst change I've ever thought of in a very long time. It just sucks. That would amplify one of my least favorite things about junglers, which is junglers that will just walk into your lane bush and you see them walk into your lane bush, but you have to ward it to convince them to walk away. So you ward it, and instead of being rewarded for knowing they're there, you just gave them 100 free gold. What? That would piss me off so much.
It would also It also make it way too easy to troll your own team. You just buy like Watchful Wardstone or whatever and go around placing wards in front of the enemy team to feed them. Okay, back to the game. We see Jarvan doing some camps. Jarvan actually stole away the red buff, but knowing that seemingly Jarvan was down there, Billa is going to go ahead and try and turn this into a vertical jungle situation.
And if I'm Jarvan, if you're going to vertical jungle...
Wildcard going to go in.
make it-
Slothman going to avoid that as his Chanter with the knockdown, but now Wildcard might be the person going to be in a little bit of trouble. Damage going over top. Not going to be too much just yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
Luckily,
speaking of getting the angle, though, Billa is finding these isolated Qs, and Christensen TX forced to flash away. Sorry, please continue.
Oh no, I was gonna say it's one of the things I'm really excited to see, especially with the Shogath lane, is that something I don't get to experience a lot, because I play Chank Shogath, is watching people get chunked by your Qs. And that'll get really obnoxious if you're Tristana who's just trying to hop in and burst Senna. If they can't get these engages to work, most of the time I think both Rel and Tristana will have to kind of cope with the fact that they're gonna start losing a lot of their HP over just these Shogath Qs.
Yeah, Wildcard already getting up for quite a bit there, but now still is going to find Andy Gwen on the knockup, and this is looking like First Blood. Andy Gwen taken down by the Prince of Demacia.
Yeah, that is very unideal, especially if you ask them. I mean, 9 deaths away from the power spike, but then again, it would be really cool if you never had to reach the power spike. So, you
True,
dance a
but
fine balance, right?
if the Yasuo doesn't die 10 times in a game, was it even played? Merlin guy going to go for the crash down, but they might not want that. Chanter going to use the E. They're going to find some slows. Flash forward. Ignite going to be dropped, but Merlin guy is just going to go down. And now Exhaust going to be used on a Wildcard. Chanter doesn't have that much mana, though. Wildcard going to be able to get out of there with the Flash.
Yeah. This is just, that's kind of just what had to happen. I was...
Wall of Pain again for Christensen TX, and this time the Flash is not available. Exhaust to make those just a little bit easier to hit, and that is damage coming on through. The slows are brutal.
Yeah, this is looking great.
Oh yeah, speaking of
Else I
summoners,
had earlier were... oh yeah, the exhaust on...
that was Karthus Exhaust. Yeah.
Wonderful. I'm also, what I've been seeing a lot on GBC is unpublic, but I see Glacial here, which I like just as much when you can essentially, you can free knockups on Rel a lot of the time, and in a way, you can punish Tristana for kind of playing next to her support, and that is huge.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting to see this lane as it continues. Now Andy Gwen going in is going to use the last breath onto Bingo, but Bingo quite tanky as of right now, and will be able to get out of that one. Okay, so where are we at? We've got a 700 gold lead, 600, 700 gold lead here inside of Panther Core. Bingo gonna find a knockup here, but Billa is around. Wall of Pain used. Knockup is found, but that's gonna be 1 Q missed. That's gonna be 2 Q missed. And Bingo is dodging with the fancy feet.
Oh! Skipping right over the Skittles. That was gorgeous.
But now Blue Moon Jelly Flash!
Not yet.
Okay, that's not too much counterplay you can have from that one.
Hey! You know, you do what you gotta do. And TP right back mid.
Yeah.
One purpose. One purpose.
Sneaky Flag and Drag is going to be used on to Slothman. Slothman absolutely going to get 1 pop. And now Chanter are forced to run for the hills. An absolutely sneaky lane gank there from Still.
Yeah, that was gorgeous.
Like, this time, the early dragon will be going over to the side of Bingus. Flingus. Panther Core just a little bit more scaling on this composition, although Chanter is looking, does not have the 6 yet. But, you know,
Didn't
can
look to
always-
steal with the Q. Never
always
Q.
do it. Well, it's called
Good
Rupture,
drag out.
right?
Yes, Rupture is Rupture and Peace are the two abilities.
Yeah. Okay, Vexalt is going to be used. Villa is going to have to be very careful. Death Defiled passive is available, though. They're going to let that one prop, and now Stilt is looking out a Slothman. Slothman looking to go away. Stilt's going to go incredibly low. Oh, but the auto gets canceled. The Slothman is a little bit indecisive with Crash Down. And now Stilt going to be recalling in a bush. But Blue Moon Jelly wants some of this. Chanter able to come up. Blue Moon Jelly now going to be autoing Merlin guy. Going to do quite a bit of damage, but is taking quite a bit from the Tristana Bomb. Still going to look for the flag and drag over the wall. Is going to find the knock-up here on a Blue Moon Jelly, and Blue Moon Jelly will get shut down. As the Goon Squad of Bingus Flingus bring themselves into the lead.
Coming down. Which is kind of devastating, because they are very low. But I think Chanter right now is just like, I just want to hit 6. I want to hit 6. I want to be able to... Because I can guarantee you at least 2 people in that fight were within feast range.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? You want to hit 6. You want to be able to have that finisher in team fights, and Chanter has, for the record, hit 6. That's really huge because now you've got threat lane. Because getting hit by a root by Senna is no longer losing a chunk of your HP. It's potentially dying, at least for Tristana. Maybe not.
Yeah, right. It is a lot of damage. We can check to see how much it does right now. 334 true damage to champions right now. Wildcard just going to jump out of there. Andy Gwen going to look to fight up here. Blue Moon Jelly. Both are available. They're going to use the combo, but now Ornhorn is going to come in. Bingo going to flash away. But the Wind Wall does find some of it. Bingo absolutely going to get got here. Goes unstoppable, but it won't quite be enough. And that is Malphite Yasuo.
Weird interaction. Weird interaction with the Wind Wall. Andy Gwen's still getting knocked up.
Yeah, I think it was the hitbox, like, clipped it as it was coming through. Mm-hmm. Like, the hitbox for where it knocks you up isn't the same as the hitbox for where it goes bye-bye if it hits the wind wall. So it, like, clips through the wind wall and then gets deleted, so Andy gets knocked up, but Blue Moon doesn't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then that seems to be exactly how it makes enough sense to me. I'll pass it as the truth. And Ronin are going to say, well, we couldn't get the first straight, but we will get the first Herald.
So Christensen TX might bully them off of
no,
it.
They're just going to leave. Yeah,
Andy Gwen going to be able to dodge out on that flag and drag. Yasuo Shield doing some work. Still, Cataclysm is available. Actually uses it to dodge the tornado. That is going to be a solo kill for the Jarvan.
Still able to really handle things. Being proactive on this Jarvan is kind of a big point of it. And once again, the Yasuo Ornn lane was gonna... I thought maybe Yasuo could have a little more agency getting this lane where he doesn't really have to do anything except not die. But junglers obviously impact the game in a way that no other role can, and right now, he's proving it.
That damage.
Yeah. And it's Everfrost now, so it's never really safe for Tristana to get hit by a Q when she's outside of her turn range. So, getting hit by a Q means probably getting Everfrosted and probably getting killed.
Is going to find use out of the wind wall, but still just does so much damage from just auto attacks.
Yeah, it is. Things are looking tough for our hero.
Yeah. Villa will get feared here. Senna going to go over the top, try and keep them alive as they look to farm up this mid-wave.
Really low, though. I mean, but I understand the danger. You don't want to...
but Chanterer and Slothman have made their way up here, and here comes the Karthus ult. That is likely going to be a shutdown onto the Jarvan going over to the Villa. Now Christensen TX going to be the next one to flee, and Flash is going to help them get to safety. Cho'Gath Feast was used there. What on? Yeah.
Is it up? It's still up, though, for me.
Oh, for me it's not. Does he have a stack? We can check.
We can check.
He has 2 stacks.
It's 2 stacks. Oh.
Both on
minions. May not have been indicative as we wanted it to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they do find that shutdown, and that is, like, the power of having, I think, something about the Cho'Gath and the, oh, I'm being DM'd for 5s. Ignore that. Oh, fun thing. So that's one of my buddies from college, but what we were doing was actually super fun. So if you don't know, in the challenges, the all of the new stuff they've added to League. There's some really fun stuff you can do if you ever get, like, you know, bored of League, or you're just, like, not feeling it. You're like, do I really want to play ranked right now? No. Here's what you're going to do. Pick a challenge, go play some norms. Hang on. Chanter is going to silence, going to find the knockoff onto Christensen's, but now Stilt is coming in. Andy Gwen going to look to save the Void Monster. Void Monster going to be able to get off one more Q, but that won't be enough. But here comes Blue Moon Jelly. Knock up. Final Breath not going to be used from Yasuo. He's going to get his own knock up, and it'll be found Merlin Guy forced to crash down for the hills.
That is the skirmish power of this comp. Knockups galore. Big CC and the ability to really punish off of just one CC, right? Get hit by one piece of CC, well, Cinnamon may be a possibility, Malphite, Yasuo, these things, just so much damage. We've got Iceborne coming out from Malphite, which I just love. I love Iceborne, and not a lot of characters build it, but I really do love it, because that Sheen item on a tank like Malphite is a lot more insufferable.
Oh, flash forward. They're going to look for Gwen here. As someone said in chat, maybe... Well... Oh. Okay, Merlin Guy gets taken pretty low. This bot lane has the bush strategies down to a T.
Mm-hmm. And they are saying, hey, they're waiting for people to oversee it. I mean, they probably figured out from... Man.
Those Cho'Gath Qs are so beefy.
Yep,
and
they're only
350 magic damage. That's so high.
And it's only going to get worse. I mean, we're going to see Zanya's come through. I've seen some of them look for a Cosmic Drive. I don't think that... and then maybe some even utility items. I used to be a really big fan of just going Everfrost into Stoneplate and being as obnoxious as possible.
God,
but I think we're going to see Everfrost.
Yeah, Wildcard we're left alone with that bot turret, though, so they are going to be able to just take it.
Watching Bingo just...
Oh no, Christian TX just going to be gobbled up into the belly of Chanter.
Yep. You got hit by the Q, man.
Yeah, you got hit by the Q.
HP than you probably should.
What can you do about it? You got hit by the Q. You can't do nothing.
You gotta not get hit.
Ugh.
And that's very unfortunate, though. It is highly annoying. Yeah, but I think as this game goes on, we're gonna see a few things become really evident. A lot of Flingus' kind of gameplay is gonna... Oh...
He can come down here from the Ornn. Andy Gwen will be forced to potentially run away. Nope, is just going to keep autoing the turret. Bingo going to try and clear away the minions here. Just going to be able to get down that last one, but Andy Gwen actually is able to get down the turret. No reinforcements coming just yet for Bingo. Bingo also relatively low on mana, and he does have the ultimate. Unstoppable Bingo, so he will not get last breath. Right now, the Q knockup is found on the Merlin Guy. Merlin Guy going to use their ultimate to try and trade back. Finds the crash down. Tons of damage going on to Billa. Death Defiled will be activated, but that's going to be 1-for-1. Now Stilt has made their way into the bot lane. It is now going to be Andy Gwen in a 1 versus 2. Health bar's going incredibly low, though. Will Stilt get found. They're going to be knocked up, but the Flag and Drag takes priority. Andy Gwen looking for the trade. Cannot quite find it. Oh.
Andy Gwen is getting so close to these ridiculous, like 2v1, 3v1 situations. And you can Karthus is pinging his R right now. Yeah. If Ornn and Jarvan don't back, it could be an issue within the next 8 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds. Will we see our channel on spawn? No, we're not. Unlucky.
No. I guess they assume that he's back. Just a fair assumption, right? They were both low. You assume they back immediately. They did not. But hey, we're gonna see the Leandries come out from Karthus. And I think that'll be the Shadow Clan.
Oh, and I love this. Well. I love Senna going and just like this mid-game lane assignments are kind of wild right now. Send your Senna to just go hang out with the jungler for a bit. Because jungle camps produce so many Senna souls. It is an average of like 2 souls per camp. Or something crazy.
Ridiculous stuff, really.
Yeah. Now, but okay, so going back to the wanting to see the Karthus ult, that's where I kind of like first strike Karthus, because if you're first strike Karthus, you can just say, I'll get gold from it anyway, and hit the R key as soon as you spawn, just in case someone's still low enough. Oh, hang on, we got Andy Gwen going up against the Vex here. Lots of damage being done both ways. Flash from Christensen, but Wind Wall from Andy. Now the rest of Panther Corps are going to be up here on this Herald, and it is going to get burst down. Chanter not going to have Chomp available just yet. Oh, Blue Moon Jelly is so fast! It has to be absolutely terrifying to see a mountain move that quickly.
Mm-hmm. The monolith, they call him.
Let go.
Fun fact, did you know Malphite, well, okay, so funnily enough, apparently I was wrong. Malphite is not the monolith. Malphite was part of a bunch of essentially giant mountain creatures that was called the monolith.
So like there were
and
many
now-
Malphites that formed one monolith?
Now he's the last remaining of the monolith. So technically he is the monolith. It's kind of one of those like how many grains of sand, how many grains of sand until you've got a lump of sand or whatever it's called, a pile. It's like how many.
Okay, we're
Giant
absolutely
mountain
going to see a fight here. They are
away
trying to
from
burn down the Drake, but not enough. Crashdown is going to find so many of the members as here comes the Vex. That's going to be a ton, but Senna ult going over the top, going to do so much. Shielding in the backline. Wildcard is found by Blue Moon Jelly and Andy Gwen. Andy Gwen now taking a ton of damage, but is able to heal it back up, and it is absolute mayhem. Panther Corps Ronin wipe the floor.
Jesus Christ. What a team fight from Panther Corps Ronin. I mean, we saw it last game in some of their kind of mid skirmishes, but they were ahead. And, when a temper is like, oh, they played that so well. Was it the wallets? Was it the skills? Well, here, I think both teams were fairly even going into that fight. They had a huge lead thanks to kind of the kills. Now, obviously, they have a huge lead thanks to the kills. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Bingus Flingus play from here, because walking into them is not as easy as it seems. I mean, they kind of landed just about everything, I think, except the Ornn ult, which got Yasuo with.
Yeah.
They got a pretty good Vex ult. They got a pretty good crash down, if I remember correctly. Maybe you didn't Magnum Storm the targets you want, and you know, Senna got off her ult just right. But I mean, in the same vein, Cho'Gath still has Aura, and I believe Karth is being used. So you've got to kind of look at what tools you have. Is it going to be a situation where maybe they want to make sure they're taking fights without certain members of Panther Corps or Ronin there? Or is it more of, okay, we'll just get them next time. Like, we'll play the fight better.
Yeah, it's very interesting there. I mean, I think one of the problems they had is, you know, Rel Crashdown looked really good, but just Christensen TX Vex damage going over the top just isn't quite enough to have the impact that it needs to. It's not an Orianna ult or something game-ending. Oh, knock up mid-jump. Wildcard absolutely gonna be in trouble. That is going to be Blue Moon Jelly looking for the damage. Merlin guy going to try to run away, but Rel is so slow without her Iron Horse, and that is going to be sight set on the large purple worm.
And Chanter won't have ult for it, so they've only got one smite. So maybe if you're thinking this is one I can take. I got it, guys. But otherwise, you got caught in middle, right? And
It's coming up, though. It will be available for this.
Yeah, okay.
Beast now also
fighting
available.
up
See
the
where it
battle.
goes. Q going over. It gets chomped. A valiant effort there from Still. But they're just going to get Yasuo ulted into the grave.
Chomp, you know, nom. You know,
A
a little too easy.
I'm devastated that Chanter doesn't have the Gentleman Cho'Gath skin, because that is my favorite.
I want to see double TP coming in from Andy Gwyn and Blue Moon Jelly. It's time.
That's a rough one. That's just a lot of damage coming out from these two fine folks.
Yep. I mean, Andy Gwyn, despite all the punishments towards him in the early game, he's got 3 items. I think he's up there with the most items in the game. He's matching enemy jungle. He's matching his jungle, enemy jungle, and both bot laners. You know, it's like he never left.
Also, most farm in the game, and fun fact, richest person in the game. Andy Gwen with 9,321 gold.
Richest person, most deaths.
Yeah, that makes sense. Just die for farm. Listen,
Just die for farm.
Sometimes
And
dying for farm is good. That's what I say off of this. Still is going to go in, but that Yasuo ult combo is brutal. Okay, though, Wildcard going to be in. Windwall going to do so much damage here, as here comes the storm. Shutdowns across the board.
Ooh.
Andy Gwen sacrificed.
Ronin slice and dice their way to another huge lead, and are looking quite good as this game goes on. Chanter's seeming pretty hard to touch. With Demonic Embrace second and with the lone needlessly large rod, part of me thinks this is about to be a Rabadon.
Yeah, they're just taking this turret. They do not care about Merlin Guy and Christensen TX damage at all whatsoever. The knockup is going to be good there on the Vex. Vex forced to flash away, trying to find the fear damage, but a flash forward, and Chanter goes unstoppable. The Magnet Storm will keep them in place long enough for the towers to do their job. Slothman now going to be the next one on the chopping block, and a reset for Wildcard means that they could potentially chase down Blue Moon Jelly as well.
And that's going to give Bingus Flingus the inside track to this Drake area. Cho'Gath won't have TP to get there.
Villa going to be the target. Gets knocked up while tanking the increased range of that cannon minion, doing him no favors. And Bingo will find the shutdown. Just a little bit unfortunate there.
Yeah, and that is really, really unfortunate because, and with Blue Moon Jelly kind of being the target of some damage, they're not fighting this next streak.
No, certainly not. And I think that means that we're going to get some objective bounty gold, 100 gold for if this streak goes over, which we're expecting it to. 100 gold will go into the pockets of each of the members here. So, you know, not going to swing the scales too far, but certainly will help.
Note at this point, Chanter's ult is much, much stronger than Still Smite.
Yeah, they're going to be going into the
that
pit.
Is...
It's going to be a little bit unfortunate as Chanter manages to find the Drake and says, "You are not trapped in here with... I'm not trapped in here with you. You are trapped in here with me."
Yeah, Cho'Gath's ult is, you know how there was like that pretty short debacle before Riot changed the damage on Jinx's ult, where it's like, you know, a lot of junglers, because at the time I think I was playing mostly junglers, you know, I can't outsmite Jinx. Her ult does more damage. You just gotta, like, we've got to position better. Well, with Cho'Gath, it is literally, you can't outsmite him. And that, at no point in the game, I believe, is it true that, especially if you're building AD Cho'Gath, most of the game, your ult will be doing more damage than Smite, even when it's 1200, which is extremely, that is demoralizing as a jungler.
Just to check in, Cho'Gath Feast currently does 1,570 damage. Which is...
What do you do?
250 more than Smite. Woohoo! I mean, so there are some champs, if you timed it with bomb going off from Tristana or some other damage from your team, you do have a solid chance of smiting it. Ult goes in, last breath just used to take out Wildcard. AD carry now going to go away. Karthus ult coming in on top as Moon Jelly is taking up the turrets. Now Chanter is taking up the other turret. They're fighting between the two, but they don't care. Fear is found under Mr. Gwen. He's going to be knocked up. Will take quite a bit of damage. Bingo going to look for that one, but Bingo is going to be alone. One mountain versus another as Chanter takes maybe one too many, but no. Slothman gets a triple kill. Snipes him down for the quadra. And it looks like Panther Ronin might be fine in the series. How many stacks on Cho?
Yeah.
I believe there were 11. Yes, 11 stacks on Cho. 11 stacks on Cho, 106 stacks on Senna, and 12 Dark Harvest stacks on Karthus. That's been your stack check.
And now there'll be, and for Ronin, you can now stack 2 Ws this early into their season.
Yeah, looking...
I mean, they said they burned down the kitchen, but it seems like a well-cooked meal.
You know,
if not a little chaotic.
They started a little grease fire, but I think they put it out. Because it seems like the cooking has worked, you know?
It seems like one of those moments where you're seeing a lot of smoke come from the pan. You're not sure if that person knows what they're
Ult going down on Tristana yet again, but they are going to be Magnet Stormed underneath the turret. Christensen TX looking to do the damage as the mountain will eventually fall. Andy Gwen will be the next one on the chopping block, but Chanterer gets a quadra. Both bot lane members from PC Ronin getting quadras of their own to finish out this series. Commercial Group C, Panther Ronin looking strong.
Jin would be delighted, but that is just an excellent game too from Panther Ronin. Kind of doing what they want with that one, having an excellent game too for the win.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was a fast series.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if anyone from the side of PC Ronin would like to interview, I would say we absolutely have more than enough time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, let me just throw you in at Panther Core. Wait, I mean, we would take an Andy. We've got okay. Here they are, the man, the myth, the Cho'Gath player, Enchanter.
Holy.
How you feeling?
If you guys
Yeah, how are you feeling?
been screaming about Apex Legends in the background, I can't do anything about him.
That's fine.
But
we take any and all background noise here at the low budget LCS. It simply adds to our image.
Right. I'm doing great. I mean, it was my first game here in the LBLCS, and I cooked up Cho'Gath. So
that was you doing the cooking.
I was the guy who brought up Cho'Gath in our scrim a couple weeks ago, and it went terrible. But we all kind of agreed on this exact team comp if we won game 1, and that it was just gonna be absolutely cooking. So yeah, I don't know. When we're talking about draft and stuff, they're usually just talking about how Brian Griffin isn't allowed to cook anymore. But today we cooked for sure. So
I see.
Yeah, I cooked an excellent meal.
Now I have a quote from Slothman. We cooked. The kitchen is burning down. Help. How did you put out the fire?
If a kitchen was burning down, how would I put out the fire? I don't know, probably with Cho'Gath W. If you silence the flames, it should be okay, right?
That is the most that dude.
Right.
I thought I'd hear something like that from Andy Gwynn. Come on,
dude. It's hard to not act like him when he's on your team, bro. The guy's infectious.
Speaking of Andy Gwynn, he had an interesting 2 games. I think a lot of pushing forward on the Yone and a lot of interesting decisions on the Yasuo game too. How was it just kind of knowing that despite all of that, when push came to shove towards the end of game 2, he's got some of the most items, some of the most gold, and he's just an immediate presence in all of these fights?
I think the thing that makes Andy so valuable to have is no matter what team we play, they all seem to really hate him. Like, even if he lanes really aggressive or anything, like, that guy is drawing more jungle pressure than any other lane, like, permanently. Like, we always know in mid that there's never going to be any jungle pressure, and there's barely any in bot, because they just love ganking Andy Gwen all the time. So even if he goes down a little bit on the Yasuo and he's doing a little limit testing, like, as a team, our mid game and our end game is so solid always, especially with Slothman, like I don't know, just IGLing. Like, we just don't really. I don't know. It's just nice. It's like, yeah, Andy might go down 1 or 2 deaths, like when he's limit testing on Yasuo top versus Ornn, but it's definitely worth it because we just don't have to worry about jungle pretty much anywhere else. Feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I see.
Yeah.
Good old pressure sponge.
Right.
Okay. Well, what match do you have next week? What are you looking forward to in the season? Are there any opponents you're particularly interested in facing?
Actually, this was the team that I was really particularly interested in facing, only because the name Bingus Flingus I'm not a big fan of. So as soon as I saw this team get drafted into the group, I'm like, dude, I can't lose to these Bingus Flingus guys.
What's wrong with Bingus Flingus?
I don't know, something about it. It just gets on my nerves. Nothing against any of the players or anything, of course, but the name just gets on my nerves for some reason.
Hold on, wait. If you think about it, Enchanter is known as Brian Griffin. Brian Griffin is a dog.
Oh, dogs and cats.
Flingus are cats.
But wait, so are Panther Core.
That's not. It's different because Bingus Flingus are like house cats in the same way Brian is, in probably the most literal sense, a house dog.
Right.
Whereas,
that's true. Panthers, you do see sometimes you get those zoos where you have the dogs that temper the mood of the big cats, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, uh,
Beautiful.
do you have anyone you want to shout out? Any supporters in the chat that you would like to recognize?
Shout out to Kayla and Zach. They're my friends. They watched the game. Shout out to all my teammates and any other Panther Corps members watching that game. And especially shout out my teammates for letting me cook.
Yeah, huge.
After
Very cool.
I don't know, the scrim a couple weeks ago where I played Cho'Gath, I'm surprised they let me play that ever again. It did not go over so well. So
Are you looking forward to playing Let 'Em Cook? Because they are in Commercial Group C.
I mean, I had no idea there was a team named Let 'Em Cook. I'm gonna be honest. So I mean, I'm actually looking forward for the cook-off if that's what you're talking about. So
That would be.
outcook them.
All of a sudden, I'm very interested. I'm invested in a cook-off.
Okay,
Right.
we're gonna have to either stream or get a write up when that game happens because
God,
I want to
please.
see Let 'Em Cook versus Panther Corps Ronin, who have proven themselves to be able chefs.
Right.
Those who cook and those who cannot.
Yeah. Well, with that, I think that does it for us today with the low budget LCS. Roselle, do you want to just take us out with the classic saying?
If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.